Hi friends, in this video I am again going to continue Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone audiobook series. So this is part 31. I left from page number 150. So I will read from page number 151. Rubbish, said Hagrid. Why should he? Yet Harry couldn't think that Hagrid didn't quite meet his eyes when he said that. How's your brother Charlie? Hagrid asked Ron. I liked him a lot. Great with animals. Harry wondered if Hagrid had changed the subject on purpose. While Ron told Hagrid all about Charlie's work with dragons, Harry picked up a piece of paper that was lying on the table under the tea cozy and was a cutting from Daily Prophet. Gringotts break-in latest. Investigations continue into the break-in at Gringotts on 31st July. Widely believed to the work of dark wizards and witches unknown. Gringotts goblins today insisted that nothing had been taken. The vault was searched had in fact been emptied the same day. But we are not telling you what was in there. So keep your noses out if you know what's good for you, said a Gringotts spoke goblin this afternoon. Harry remembered Ron telling him on the train that someone had tried to rob Gringotts, but Ron hadn't mentioned the date. Hagrid, said Harry, that's Gringotts break-in happened on my birthday. I might have been happening while we were there. There was no doubt about it. Hagrid definitely didn't meet Harry's eyes this time. He grunted and offered him another rock cake. Harry read the story again. The vault was searched had in fact been emptied earlier the same day. Hagrid had emptied the vault 713, if you could call it emptying. Taking out that grubby little package had been what thieves were looking for. As Harry and Ron walked back to the castle for dinner, their pockets filled down with rock cakes they had been too polite to refuse. Harry thought that none of the lessons he had had so far had given him as much to think as tea with Hagrid. Had Hagrid collected that package just in time? Where was it now? And did Hagrid know something about Snape that he didn't want to tell Harry? Chapter 9. The Midnight Duel. Harry had never believed he would meet a boy he hated more than Dudley, but that was before he met Draco Malfoy. Still, first-year Gryffindors only had potions with the Slytherins, so they didn't have to put up with Malfoy much. Or at least they didn't until they spotted a notice pinned up in the Gryffindor common room, which made them all groan. Flying lessons would be starting on Thursday, and Gryffindor and Slytherin would be learning together. Typical, said Harry darkly. Just what I always wanted to. I always wanted to make a fool of myself on a broomstick in front of Malfoy. He had been looking forward to learning to fly more than anyone else. You don't know you will make a fool of yourself, said Ron reasonably. Anyway, I know Malfoy is always going on about how good he is at Quidditch, but I bet that's all talk. Malfoy certainly didn't talk about flying a lot. He complained loudly about first years, never getting in house Quidditch teams, and told boastful stories which always seemed to end with a narrowly escaped muggles and helicopters. He wasn't the only one. Though the Seamus Finnegan told that he had spent most of his childhood zooming around the countryside on his broomstick. Even Ron would tell anyone who would listen about the time he had almost hit a hang glider on Charlie's old broom. Everyone from wizarding families talked about Quidditch constantly. Ron had already had a big argument with Dean Thomas, who shared their dormitory about football. Ron couldn't see what was exciting about a game. With only one ball there, no one was allowed to fly. Harry had caught Ron prodding Dean's poster of West Ham football team, trying to make the players move. Neville had never been on a broomstick in his life because his grandmother had never let him near one. Privately, Harry felt she would had good reason, because Neville managed to have an extraordinary number of accidents, even with both feet on the ground. Hermione Granger was almost nervous about flying, as Neville was. This was something you couldn't learn by heart out of a book. Not that she hadn't tried. At breakfast on Thursday, she bored all stupid with flying tips she had got out of the library book called Quidditch Through the Ages. Neville was hanging onto her every word, desperate for anything that might help him hang on to his broomstick later. But everybody else was very pleased when Hermione's lecture was interrupted by arrival of post. Harry hadn't a single letter since Hagrid's note, something that Malfoy had been quickly noticed. Of course, Malfoy's eagle owl was always bringing him packages of sweets from home, which he opened groaning at his Slytherin table. A barn owl brought Neville a small package from his grandmother. He opened it excitedly and showed them a glass ball size of a large marble, which seemed to be full of white smoke. "It's Remembrall," he explained. "Gran knows I forget things. This tells you if there's something you have forgotten to do. Look, you hold it tight like this, and if it turns red..." Oh! His face fell because the Remembrall had suddenly glowed scarlet. "You have forgotten something." Neville was trying to remember what he had forgotten when Draco Malfoy, who was passing the Gryffindor table, snatched the Remembrall out of his hand. Harry and Ron jumped to their feet. They were half hoping for a reason to fight Malfoy, but Professor McGonagall, who could spot trouble quicker than any teacher in the school, was there in a flash. "What's going on?" "Malfoy's got my Remembrall, Professor." Scowling, Malfoy quickly dropped the Remembrall back on the table. "Just looking," he said, and sloped away with Crabbe and Goyle behind him. So friends, here our reading for today finishes, and if you like the video, press the like button, and meet you in the next video. Bye-bye.